Coming at you again with a tutorial. I'm going to show you how I like to clean my brushes. I use the Morphe Solid Brush Cleaner in the scent Honey Lavender. This is a fresh jar and this stuff smells amazing. Firstly, I like to get my water warm, not hot but warm. Then I'm going to place all of my brushes that I need washed into the sink. I'm going to take one and just swirl it into the soap to lather it up. And then I'm going to continue to swirl it against my hand for a few minutes. And then I lay it the opposite direction from all of the other brushes and continue to the next one. Whenever you wash them, be sure to tilt the barrel of the brush downwards so the hairs are facing down, because if you do it like this, the water tends to get down into the bristles, which can disintegrate the glue. This stuff just works flawlessly. It's going to take this super red natural hair. This is goat's hair, and this works for naturals or synthetics. All you have to do is swirl it around and just watch the pigment disappear before your eyes. It's super quick, super easy. I just use my hand. You don't need any fancy tools or anything like that. And look at that. It looks brand new again. This is a heavily used contour brush. Clearly it's very darkened. The bristles were originally white with pink tips. And you can just watch the product just melt away, and it slowly goes back to the way it should have been. You can also do multiple at a time. I like to shape my brushes as I go, try to keep them in their proper shape. You don't want to put too much force into it. You want to do this as gently as possible so that you don't damage the brushes or cause any hair to shed. Another goat's hair brush that's been stained with red, and we're just going to watch that disappear. You know how hard red can be to deal with and to get out of things, but it just cleaned that brush fairly well and effortlessly. I'm just going to go in again and make sure it was gotten well. Also, before doing this, you want to make sure that you sanitize your sink, because we are cleaning the brushes. We don't want to introduce any bacteria or anything harmful that may have been in your sink. This is caked with concealer, and I'm about to just take that right off. Spoolies need cleaned too. You don't want to not clean your spoolie. That's actually something that I see a ton of people forgetting. Look at all the pigment that it just grabs off of it. And it really hasn't used much, as you could tell. It's still a full container. Now I'm going to start the rinsing process. Like I said, I like to rinse them with the bristles facing downwards. Make sure there's no product in there anymore. And then I gently squeeze out the bristles while reshaping the brush. and I set it aside onto a towel to lay flat to dry. Also is super conditioning for any sort of brushes you're working with, whether it's synthetic or natural hair. And anyone who works with brushes made from natural hair knows that it's very important to use a product that doesn't cause buildup. For my large brushes that are very fluffy, I like to gently strain out the water and then run them against my hand so that they get their fluff back, their natural shape that they're meant to have. If you do decide to rinse your brushes multiple at a time, you need to make sure that they are all facing downwards, and make sure you see no suds in the sink, because that's evident that one of them still have soap in them. And then you also need to individually go through and dry each one of them off gently as best as your hands can, and try to reshape them. And then when you're done with your soap, just rinse it out. Shake out as much excess moisture as you can. And I personally like to leave it on the edge of the sink to dry before I close it, just so that I don't introduce any bacteria or anything that is typical to grow in moist, dark areas. I will show you my brushes and where they are sitting. They're sitting on this towel, a clean towel, and I just lay them flat to dry. I try to make sure that none of the bristles are too close to one another. It doesn't really matter if you put them in a certain order or anything like that. You just want to make sure that they are flat and that they are relatively close to their normal shape. One thing that is really hard is the natural hair brushes. They lose their shape so easily. As you can tell, this one has begun to fray, and this is only the second time it's ever been washed. This is the Morphe M441. I actually think I have multiple of these, and they've done the same exact thing. But this is my brush washing routine. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something new.